Welcome back to OPTCG Central, your hub for all things One Piece card game related. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. It really helps us bring you more One Piece TCG matches and more.
Bandai at the official One Piece card game shop in Camden. Very nice guy, very good player as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays his Rayleigh deck. I have lost to his Rayleigh deck once before, have beaten him once, ended up losing one to him as well. So that will be interesting to see how this one plays out. So both players fist bump, and we start off with Friedegg now playing out Rayleigh's other half.
Already an interesting start because both decks like going second. Once again, even though it's not an OP13 meta, they're going second strong. So, Luffy getting the dice roll, I guess, and going second is good.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how we go. Let's see what's in this draw. 2 stages.
Well, both players getting a good start, being able to do a 5-card search. Look at the top 5 cards. So being able to find pieces that they might need. We do see a Usohachi there, was it? I think being added to hand. Starts off here with a 5k swing with the Rayleigh.
What is going to be?
Yeah, we see our Luffy player doing another search on their turn and then passing over, and we see Zoro immediately being slapped down.
The fast tempo aggression. This is what you need to do with Rayleigh, really, because if you allow Great Luffy to set up and start getting their bits on board, you're gonna be in for a rough time because their bodies will just outvalue you instantly.
Exactly. So we did see the Nami search, off life, and going into Tom's turn here, Zoro search taking that very important piece into hand. We just saw Sanji and Pudding. So that's going to be interesting as we move forward in this particular game, because that card does have such a huge influence in this deck.
Very much so. Very much so. Both boards filling up slowly,
Yep.
The Rayleigh player has to be careful here because obviously those Nami sitting there, easy to weaponize to take out any of the little bodies that Rayleigh turns sideways.
Yep. As a thing with Rayleigh, obviously it plays a lot of bodies which might not be that powerful initially, but it can power them up during its turn. But obviously the downside of that is that it leaves them very susceptible to small little searchers, even doing attacks into those little bodies and making it a lot more difficult to keep us board state. And sometimes this is where Rayleigh sort of falls, doesn't it? I mean, you can swamp your board, make it really wide, and then you're really just left with events in hand and not many characters that you can play out. So you've got to be really careful about how you position yourself and how you play it. And Tom, getting that Nami off life could be quite beneficial, as we were saying, as you were just mentioning on the next turn when it goes back to
Rayleigh dropping the Luffy, showing off the 2 events to be able to play a body out, and then playing out the Sanji in Nami's body, and then dropping the event to attach Don, and then we find Kid Killer, like getting the pieces now.
Yeah,
so you see in the wide board, but as we just said, they start getting turned. Green, purple Luffy will just start trying to take them apart, and as you said, with cards in hand, this can be dangerous because if they're all events, you're going to start losing those bodies because you don't really want to use them this early in the game. But then if you've got no board state, what do? You're going to run out of steam. That gas kind of, disappears.
Yeah, exactly. And we do see Sanji and Pudding being played on turn, and that's so dangerous with that leader effect and the Sanji and Pudding both firing off. You get so much restand. And if you can chain a few Sanji and Puddings on board, it does become really, really awkward. And that Zoro gets dealt with fairly easily with that 6k Zoro from Tom's side of the board. And now we do see an attack into life. Friedegg will happily take that, gives an extra card in hand, still very strong with 4 life. And now comes back to his turn. He really does need to be respectful of his opponent's board here and try and formulate a way of applying pressure.
Very much so. But ooh, those two events in hand could really, if he can survive Friedegg with Kid Killer and those events, could really apply some pressure later on. But at this point in time, it's hard because you've got the power up on the leader. Green purple Luffy's just the hands looking fairly large. We see the counter there. You know, it's what do you do? Because with Rayleigh, you constantly need to keep that check of refilling board, but applying pressure with swings. And
Yeah,
that Don split can really leave you in a bad place sometimes.
yeah. And it does become awkward now. Now we're seeing Luffy being a 6K leader. Just does make it very difficult. So the Sanji naturally can swing 6K because it does get plus 3,000 power on your turn. Does make it down to a 3,000 power on your turn, but when it is KO'd, you do get to draw a card. So very useful. You generally get one swing out of it, but it does replace itself in your hand by being able to draw on your
Very
turn as well.
fantastic card. Very fantastic card. I know. I presume you were a big fan of it when you used to play Sanji.
Oh yes, very very much so. Comes in, can give it rush, swing 6K immediately with it, and get to draw when it's KO'd as well. Very nice card indeed.
So here we're talking about the event that was just dropped by our Rayleigh player, Gum Gum King Kong Gatling. So obviously giving that power boost to 3K. Obviously we have a 7K on board, so you get even more. So it powers up even further, allowing that Shaki to just be a very dangerous swing out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And Shaki is one of those characters probably on board that, you do want to get a swing out of nice and early, just apply a bit more pressure. But Gum Gum Gatling does also, because your opponent has a character with 7,000 power or more, will give 1,000 power to, as you say, one of your leaders or your characters. So yeah, very powerful indeed. So Luffy swinging now. And a Thunder Bagua being utilized.
This is a very, very tight matchup, but like I think the Luffy player is doing well, but if you think about it, he's at 1 life now, and Rayleigh's at 4, and you can say yes, he's got a good board, but he's got the Kid Killer in hand that could come down. You're already at 1 life, so it's going to get the power up. This could be over very, very quickly, Taj.
Yeah, absolutely. Apply pressure here. So Rayleigh swinging now. What are you going to do? Tom's under a bit of pressure here. You can see him hand shaking a little bit. Thinking about what to do here. So another Thunder Bagua. And then a zero cost event.
Ooh, a Divine Departure. Getting rid of a GGG.
So
You know a purple deck's in trouble when a Gum Gum Giant's going to trash without being used.
yeah, absolutely.
What will be Tom's response? All the boards tilted sideways, but then already mentioned, we saw the Kid Killer come out earlier in the draw. So you're going to put a blocker up, but then you've got to be careful because Rayleigh has access to unblockables.
Yeah,
Very dangerous position to be in right now for Tom.
exactly.
What will he think?
But he does have the EBO2 6 cost Luffy in hand. Starts by swinging with a Sanji and Pudding into that Luffy.
So a nice 7 into 6. But this is where you were speaking about they might not have the counter requirement because Rayleigh ends up with so many events in hand, and he's only got 3 cards in hand, and he's been shown 2 by his opponent, and you would presume the other one's the Kid Killer from Search. So Tom has knowledge if he's remembered it in that sense.
Yeah.
We see the Nami Searcher come down.
So trying to find some more pieces. What's he going to get here?
That beautiful looking SP Zoro.
Yep. So another look in hand. Probably go for the gum here, I would say. It's going to go with a 2k counter. Yep, goes with a blocker, 2k counter Sanji.
Swing 6
Swing
into 3.
6. That will go and gets to draw a card. So sequencing all good there by Thom, ensuring that he swings into the Sanji last. So then Friedegg doesn't get that card advantage off it. We haven't got an earthquake going on in Edinburgh. It's just somebody's just hit the camera there. So do apologise about the camera shake there. And we are now doing leader effect, Sanji effect to restand that Don. 4 Don standing. Leaders back up to 6k now.
Blocker on board.
Yeah.
You know, you're sitting in a cool place.
Yeah. Looking quite good here. So swinging 8. Friedeg's going to take this one, I think. Does indeed.
And then he passes with 2 Don open.
Yep, strong position there. Still on 1 life, but we do know events in hand and a blocker on board as well. Does actually help. So what can you do? How can you respond to this now? On a 9 Don turn, but Rayleigh doesn't play big bodies. So we know the Kid and Killer's in hand. Are there any other options? How can you push your way through here to try and pressure Thom?
You know, I feel like the turn Thom just took very much ensured that he's bought himself a turn. Because you've got a
Absolutely.
blocker on board, you've got counter in hand, you've cleared your opponent's board now. You know, if Rayleigh does drop 2 rushes, whether that's 2 Kid Killers or a Kid Killer and a Zoro, you're still in a place now where the swings that are coming in aren't going to be really big. So
Yep.
you should be able to deal with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is exactly where Rayleigh can sometimes be a bit awkward, because you do want to try and apply the pressure, but then you're going to leave your character susceptible to be wiped out, especially with the board looking like it is on Thom's side of this board. That Zoro still being there, that Sanji and Pudding being there, and even those 2 Namis can take care of smaller characters as well. So does leave it very awkward.
It's
Do
a
want to get
very
some sort of
common
board
thing
presence.
with red. Sorry, Taj.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, just reiterate what you're saying. Yeah, it's common theme with red, isn't it? It's very aggro, but mid to late game it becomes very, very difficult, doesn't it?
Very much so. You know, it'd be very interesting to see with OP14 with the new law deck how that's going to look, because that seems to be has a very interesting combination of very big bodies but also very little bodies, and they'll be able to change a power. If that will change maybe the opinion of red in that sense, we'll see. But common theme with Rayleigh, Zoro, even Shanks to an extent when it was strong and dominant. Its downfall would be it'd run out of gas in terms of the counter ability in the end, or them all being bricks. So be interesting to see if that changes in the future. But right now
Yeah.
we have Friedegg just checking what I presume is counters in Thom's trash. He wants to apply the pressure.
Yep. He is now using that very, very important event in the form of To Never Doubt. That is power, which is you may give 2 active Don cards to your Silver's Rayleigh. Your opponent cannot activate blocker when the card given these Don attacks during this turn. So Rayleigh leader now swinging to try and force the counters out of hand. Counter events, should we say. He's just deciding how much to commit to this attack. These Rayleigh
It's where
events.
the swing
So
will
many of
go
them.
as well.
Yeah,
But this is
exactly.
the thing. You swing into board, depends on where you're swinging. You swing into Sanji Pudding, you know, you might find Thom wanting to protect it more. If it was into the Zoro, because you've got that Sanji on board, and if it's too big a swing, but we see it going into life, I presume, because the way Thom went to look like he was going to reach for it before grabbing his Don to give him time to think. It's a tough choice. tough choice. Oh, he's
Yeah,
took it,
absolutely. It is. Oh, he decides to take
and
it.
he got a trigger.
Yep.
Could be huge.
Yeah.
We see a 2K there. But also we see a Zoro Searcher and a Sanji Pudding. So,
Yeah.
but you're now at 0 life, so Tom doesn't have much time. So realistically, you know, it's now game on clock or time on clock, really, to see how quickly can I win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you say, decides to take the 2K counter by the looks of it there. And now passes back over. Is there enough now to be able to push for game or not? Or can you get another turn out of this one?
Because at this point, you know, Rayleigh can sit, because you could say, okay, you've got blockers, but Rayleigh could unblockable, swing through. So, you know, Tom would have to have the counter events. But here we start with a 7.
Yep.
And the event that many a player have had to go into and not enjoy. Obviously, the color of Supreme Haki up to one of your characters gains 2,000 power just battle. Then you may rest one of your Don. If you do so, all of your opponent's leaders and characters then get minus 1,000 power for the turn.
Yeah. Very
Very
powerful
strong.
indeed. That just means those next 5 potential swings now require an extra Don to be as powerful as they were the previous turn. So it does make things a lot more awkward as far as getting the maths and the numbers correct. Especially for those Namis to be viable attackers now just makes it almost impossible. Did see a counter in the color of arms hockey there, giving plus 2,000. And replacing one of those Namis now with the green Nami Searcher. So
at
much
this point,
consistency with searching in this deck.
yes, this is where I believe Tom now is switching for a defensive approach. I think he knows he can't win this turn. So he's now trying to look for 2Ks, trying to look for events to prepare for maybe trying to survive a turn.
Yep.
What will we see here?
Yep. See 6 Don being dropped there. And we
Ooh,
do
okay.
see the Luffy from EBO2 being dropped here. And obviously it is rush, so he does swing with it as soon as it hits the board. Does decide to take that.
Leader effect being enacted. So get to restand 2 Don, get 1 from the Sanji Pudding. Leader becomes 6K, and we're now, you know, such a good Don efficient deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Now he wants to just apply a bit more pressure, just so he makes it a bit more awkward for Friedegg going into another turn. Means Tom will be in a very strong position if he can survive this turn now. So we go over to Rayleigh. Is there an answer here? Is there a way through? 0 life, 1 blocker on board, but we do have 3 Don up, and we do know. There we go. Unblockable, swinging with everything. Do you have enough? Gum Gum Giant. Trash is a 2K.
The draw is going to be really big here.
It's going to be. Wait, let's see what we. Okay.
This is where this is fantastic because he drew into Thunder Bagua.
Yep.
And there it is, the counter out.
Yep. Manages to get just about
And
enough to counter.
Gum Gum Giant doing what Gum Gum Giant's been doing since creation.
Yeah.
Allowing that draw. It's insane.
You know what? It's pretty much Gum Gum Giant is it's swinging now quite heavily there. Pressing.
This surely now will be game for.
Yeah. Restand swing, and there it is, game. But yeah, Gum Gum Giant's pretty much like you're the one that should disappear in any NL deck. You know, you always find it in Lost Life. Gum Gum Giant always finds you those counter pieces you need when you draw the 2 off the top of it. but it is what it is. But there we go. So Thom wins that one, beating Rayleigh in the end, thanks to Gum Gum Giant.
That clutch Thunder Bagua off draw,
Yeah,
fantastic moment.
yeah.
You know,
And
when you're playing in those games and you get it, it's brilliant.
absolutely is. And that's why it's really important to leave extra Don open. We do
Exactly
see
that.
sometimes players only leave Don for what they've got in hand, but sometimes you need to be cautious of the fact that, do you know what, I might draw into another event. I need to be able to keep that Don open, because those events that can give you that extra boost and counter can help win you the game. So really, really well played.
Hey, very much so with Thom. This is